FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
And welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. It's Kerry Lutz, and today is July 1st, 2015. No doubt you've been hearing about Greece, Puerto Rico, and various other places around the planet that either are in default, talking about default, or on their way to default. What does that mean for the currency in your pocket, in your checking account? Good question. Means you need a plan. You need to be thinking about what happens when that currency becomes worthless. All currencies eventually become worthless. You know that. And here to talk about your escape hatch is Anthem Blanchard of Hayek Gold. I've had Anthem on the show before. He's at the forefront of digital gold. Anthem, welcome back here.
Thank you so much, Kerry. It's great to be back on your show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. So what's with Hayek Gold? What are we doing here? How is it going to help you protect your wealth?
Hayek Gold is the most exciting thing I've ever been a part of in my life. It is payable gold that is payable along the Bitcoin network, which is really the strongest network in the world. It's a mesh network. That means that it's very, very, very difficult and expensive to slow down, let alone stop in any way. And so it does this really neat thing, and it basically eliminates risks that currently exist with the existing payment structure that we've inherited from legacy. So there is no centralized risk. There is no central point of failure. We all saw that when Mt. Gox went down. It was by far the biggest exchanger. And certainly the price went down because of all of the price speculation that went through Mt. Gox. But the network was in no way affected at all in terms of the velocity of the transactions now. And we've seen some strains on the Bitcoin network from some different stress testing and things like that. But at the end of the day, the network is incredibly resilient. So that's one of the things that we love about it. It's still incredibly early days. Bitcoin is barely 6 years old, and so it's very, very young still. But just this entire industry and this entire revolution of cryptocurrency and decentralized currency, we think that this is definitely here to stay. Pandora's box has been open, and it's incredibly exciting. It's an honor to be a part of it. We have got an incredible team. I represent our team, and I just got the really cool name from my parents, so that's why we called it Anthem Vault. But our main parent company, and Hayek Gold actually was my middle name, which my mother actually paid for with silver. So my parents actually ended up mutually deciding. It was kind of a bit of an inside joke. So between my parents, so just to show how kind of capitalistic driven libertarian their roots really were and are. And so it's an incredible honor to be part of this great group of people that we all share this common vision of having choice in currency and denationalization of money, just like Frederick August Hayek wrote about. So who is a namesake both for Hayek Gold, our gold crypto, our payable gold product, as well as my middle name, Hayek.
So if you want to buy some of this Hayek Gold here, how do you do it?
So great question. Right now, you do it through anthemvault.com first. So you open up an account at Anthem Vault, you buy some gold with us. It's a fractional ownership system, so it's allocated gold. Legally, it's yours. These platforms have now been around for well over a decade. So it's a great way to own physical gold legally, which is your asset, which is incredibly important from a legal standpoint, but have liquidity like you're used to in your bank or your stock brokerage account. But with the security of gold, with professional storage and professional insurance, but you can't spend it in that form. So, the beautiful thing about then going from that gold that's sitting in your Anthem Vault account over to Hayek's is that then all of a sudden you can then spend your gold anywhere through this Bitcoin network, which is incredibly powerful. I mean, people look to gold as a fail-safe, as an alternative, as a backup, as a redundant backup. And that's also one of the beauties of being attached to the Bitcoin blockchain. So with HIEX, that they can actually pay or get paid or transmitted by the client along the Bitcoin blockchain. And so that means that even if AnthemVault.com gets taken down, that the HIEX are still transmittable. So we're working feverishly with many parties right now. It's part of the excitement of what we're doing right now. It's basically being very selective, working with the best of the best and continuing to identify additional partners and the best partners to work with and develop best practices through and with, and really just to continue to escalate and grow from there. So that's what we're doing right now. And so that's really what I can speak to at the moment, Kerry. It's really just it's just incredible, the whole industry. And I mean, this year I think is just been a real blossoming, just a beginning blossom of crypto and this whole blossoming of the financial technology, the fintech industry. So it's very, very cool.
Can you give us an idea how many people are involved in this now? How many people are using it?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a pretty small group. We're still being pretty low on the barriers in terms of how many HIEX. We're actually limiting it right now to 5 HIEX a day, just for like an everyday retail user. So a HIEX is a gram of gold that is then transferable to an Anthem Vault account. So a gram of gold, roughly, if you're buying it in a kilo bar, it's about $37 US. For 1,000 grams in that form, which is how we house the gold. And so the gold is housed, it's all fully insured. It's all the best grade insurance and storage in the world. I mean, Fed member banks store cash and coin in the same vault in Salt Lake City. So it's all the best grade storage. And so all of the cost is borne up front. It's all prepaid, insured storage. And so basically, and there's a premium there, which is due to the utility of being able to use the metal as a functional currency. So, and that allows us to simplify the accounting so that way there isn't a management fee equivalent, right? Like a demurrage fee. So a shaving, if you will, that happens that makes the accounting really annoying, like, for example, an ETF, where there is no correlation at all between the price of gold and the price of the ETF because of that forced feature. So, it's tackling these different problems in a way that is going to be easily digestible to the existing ways that corporate treasurers and CFOs are used to doing things. And that's how we like to think about things, is in those terms, because what's already the core of what's going on is so immense in its complexity, quite frankly, that it's really important to be able to integrate and interoperate with the existing legacy systems as simplest as possible. And that's something that we are really focused on, and it's a challenge. It is maybe the biggest challenge that we face, or one of the biggest. It's always trying to keep it simple and always trying to keep it simpler, and it's a challenge. So it's because that ultimately means that you really conquered, I think, the territory, when it's done correct, and that's the hardest part, because it's one thing putting up a website to sell, some basic dropship retail item, but it's another thing to have a company that is a fiduciary to people's wealth, and on top of, having to be, at the forefront of innovation and the leader there. So it's definitely much more of an escalated commitment, but that's also such a massive opportunity and so much of the fun, quite frankly, for everyone on board, and why I think we attract such great people to help really bolster out what we do, and we just are steadily seeing more and more growth. I mean, I think of business as a series of S curves, and I like that I'm seeing our S curves condense, and it's never at the same time. But there are always things that you want to see happen better, but really the issue ultimately is time. And at the end of the day, there's only 24 hours in a day, so the key is, what do you focus on? And really for us, we're a dev based company, so for us it's all really been, let's focus on the development, but at the same time make sure that we're relevant. So we have orders come in every day. We've got thousands of clients. We even before we had the Hayek release, which was on May 25th, that we had already had thousands of clients. So just that were enjoyed buying and selling gold and silver from their Anthem Vault account. So that's really kind of us in a nutshell, is always stay grounded, but at the same time be inspired to elevate, to innovate, and that really, I think, has served us well.
Yeah. Well, what about the fact that Bitcoin was at almost $1,200 a Bitcoin, and now it's at $250? Is your fate at all tied into Bitcoin here?
Well, the beauty of these transactions, it takes about 3.5 cents worth of dollars. It's about 15,000 Satoshi. So to make a payment of Hayek's right now. So that's about, it's obviously tiny when you compare that to any kind of legacy payment system, which is we're basically showcasing the advantage of crypto through this implementation. That's, to us, I mean, the cheaper it gets, the better, frankly. So because the cheaper the payments get. So, I mean, we actually want to see it keep down in a way for clients. But, that's also one of the beauties of substitution. I mean, and that's always something that I've said long term. I mean, it's no one knows anything, yet about how any of this is going to go with crypto. And I've been around the digital payment space long enough now, since 2002, working in it, getting paid. Actually, I got paid in gold back in 2002. I got paid 200 grams of gold a month way back when, my first payment out of college. So, so that's it's just having that perspective. It's just, there's no substitute for it, frankly. So
right.
I've seen this before, but the really neat thing this time around versus 13 years ago is that this time around, Bitcoin has brought to the table this unbelievably amazing innovation in blockchain technology, and the ability to have decentralized ledger and this immutable amount of information and have it all in thousands of different places. And to enable there to be a clearing mechanism built in, it's just, the whole thing is tremendous. And I'm a huge proponent of the technology, namely because, the whole reason I got into the bank alternative payment space 13 years ago, and the reason my dad believed in it, even, way before then, even before the internet was around. There's an interview of my dad interviewing F.A. Hayek back in May, June of 1984 that sits on the Cato Institute's website, talking about this. And actually, Hayek proposes calling basically what amounts to what is now gold crypto, back then a solid. And then my dad says maybe one day we'll call it a Hayek. Uh-huh. So, here we are 31 years later, and we're calling it a Hayek. So its time has come, but it needed the technology in order to facilitate. And, a lot of it has to do with the regulatory environment. And, when you talk with bank executives and financial services, major big magnates and board directors and C-level executives, what they'll talk about more than anything when you talk with them about work is about regulation and about how difficult it is. So, as much flack as, some of the big time, big fish, financial institution folks, they get, and some of it warranted, I think. But at the same time, they're also really feel the effects of a lot of government. And
Sure.
Just kind of over the years, right, of kind of like these consumer production meets, financial service lobbyists. And it's like this creature, that over the years that's just really ugly. And I think has completely been acknowledged now is actually a national security risk. And I think that's why U.S. Treasury and FinCEN and the Department of Justice have ultimately been really, really supportive overall of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin innovation and development and fintech innovation. And, you read about it in Jim Rickard's books and Currency Wars and these other books on the topic. And I mean, the cat's way out of the bag. I mean,
that's
it's very well known.
No question. Well, it sounds like it's an interesting future for Hayek Gold. So people want to find out more about it, learn more about what you're doing. Best place to go?
HayekGold.co.
So you find the links as always on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Thanks so much for coming on, Anthem. Good luck.
My pleasure, Kerry. Thank you so much for having me on.